Thank you and good evening, everybody. We are officially live on our first official council meeting on Zoom. We have had a special meeting via this, but tonight officially we have moved to our first council meeting live online. Good evening, councillors. Good evening, staff. Now, councillors, I will ask everybody to always keep yourself on mute. However, I'm actually going to ask all councillors to please take yourselves off mute. I'm going to run through and check that I can hear you so that we can begin the meeting. I'm going to run through the screen, and it really is as someone appears on my screen. Good evening, Councillor Hall. Can you please just confirm that you can hear and we can hear you?
Yes, I can hear you, Anna.
Great, thank you. Councillor Mildren?
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Lowe?
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Councillor Mitchell?
Good evening, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. And Councillor Watson?
Good evening, Madam Mayor, councillors.
And you know what's really great is sometimes when I'm caught up in the moment, I forget names, even though I've known you for how long? So I've actually got your names right in front of me. We do have an apology tonight. I know that Councillor Bennett would wish she was here. So I'm going to kick off the agenda tonight by beginning with the statement of acknowledgement. We acknowledge the traditional owners of this land in which we are meeting, and we pay our respects to the elders past, present and emerging, and to those from other communities who are here with us today, for they hold the memories, the tradition and the culture of all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. Item 3 is apologies and requests for leave of absence. We have got Councillor Bennett who is absent, and an apology tonight as she is unwell. We wish her a speedy recovery. Is there any other requests for leaves of absence? It would be nice to be booking a holiday. I know that, everybody, but unfortunately that's probably not going to be the case. Item 4 is declarations under acts, regulations, codes or local laws. Is there any? No. Item 5 is declarations by councillors of any conflict of interest. Councillor Mildren, I do know you have one.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Item 17.2, which is in the confidential items.
Okay, thank you very much. And we'll have it figured out this time. Item 6 is confirmation of previous minutes from the previous meeting. It's on there on the bottom of page 3. Do I have someone move that, please? You're going to have to pop your hand up. Thank you, Councillor Hall. Thank you. A seconder, Councillor Lowe. Does anybody wish to speak against those minutes? If not, I will put the motion. All those in favour? Thank you. Motion is carried unanimously. There is a second motion for the minutes of the special council meeting there on page 4. Can I have someone move those, please? Thank you, Councillor Lowe. Thank you, Councillor Watson. Does anyone wish to speak against them? If not, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Thank you. Motion is carried unanimously. Item 8.1 is instruments of delegation. Just bear with me while I get to the recommendation. You can find it on page 17 of 125. This is an update in regards to the new local government legislation. Recommendation there on page 17. Do I have someone put that motion, please? Someone prepared to move that for me? Thank you, Councillor Watson. Seconded, Councillor Mitchell. Councillor Watson, did you wish to speak to this?
Madam Mayor, not really. Just to say that it is part of the new formation of the new Council Act. So we're just going through all that, and many of tonight's motions will be along those lines.
Thank you. Councillor Mitchell.
Oh, no, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Did any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Mildren.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As usual, I don't support the delegations the way we produce them for all the things that I've spoken about many times before. Fundamentally, I think we delegate far too many things that are matters that should be in council decision making, and I think ultimately we need to have another look at that. I understand the reason why we're going through this again is to bring it in line with the new Act, and I accept that as for what it is. But I still don't accept the fact that we go far too far with delegations. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Mildren. Anybody else wish to speak to it? No, I've just had you all shift around on my screen. Councillors, thank you. Back to you, Councillor Watson. Anything to close? No. No, I've got a nod, shake of the head. Thank you. Councillors, the motion is there before us. All those in favour? And sorry, I've got to change screens. And against? Thank you. Motion is carried. Item 8.2, public transparency policy. The recommendation to adopt the policy is there on page 21. It is in all of your large file of attachments. Councillors, do I have someone put that motion, please? I don't know what Kelly did before, but I had you all on my one screen and now I don't. Thank you, Councillor Mitchell. Do I have a seconder? Thanks, Councillor Watson. Councillor Mitchell.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The conclusion in the report for determination says it all, and I'll just quickly read it. It says Council has a legislative responsibility to adopt a public transparency policy. This report proposes the adoption of such a policy to ensure compliance with the Local Government Act 2020 and to formalise Council's commitment to open transparency decision making. So the statement is what Council must continue to aspire to.
Thank you. Councillor Watson, did you have any comment?
No, Madam Mayor, thank you.
Did any others have a comment? No? Councillors, if you just bear with me, I've just got a question and it's actually for Officer Scully, I think, through you, CEO. On page 96 of 255 is the attachments, and it actually lists all of the items that at a minimum will be available on the council website. One of the things that I know has been required in the past of councillors is to list if they are a member of a political party. It doesn't seem to be incorporated in that list. Is that the case? And I'm happy to take that as a question on notice. It's, I know we've just had it in the past and you're required to register. So I just wondered why that wouldn't show on there.
Madam Mayor, I'm not aware of that requirement previously. So I'll probably take that on advice and through the CEO, come back to you.
Yeah, thank you. Just if we could have a note out to all councils, and then I guess we should get some clarity around anybody who's running on council, because it's something that would be of public interest. And I think that's the purpose for what's available on council records according to these notes. Thank you. That was my only question of clarity. Councillor Mitchell, did you have anything further? No. Thank you. Councillors, the motion is there before us. All those in favour? Thank you. Motion is carried unanimously. Sorry, if you can bear with me and just keep your hands up that little bit longer because I've got to change screens to see all of you. 8.3 is the council expenses policy. The recommendation is there on page 24 of 125. Can I have someone put that motion, please?
Also move, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Watson. That's helpful if you actually call that out to me so I don't have to keep flipping screens. Thank you, Councillor Mitchell. Councillor Watson, comments?
Oh, Madam Mayor, once again, with the new Local Government Act, we need to go through new policies and review them and update them. And I think with the new council expense policy, it's there in our additional agenda, and it covers off everything that we need to know. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Mitchell?
Just concur, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Did anybody else wish to speak either for or against the motion? No. Councillors, if you'll indulge me, please, sorry, I'm just getting instructions via text message as well, this policy is actually pretty much almost word for word, a couple of tweaks, I think, in there, just around some vehicle stuff than we actually had. And I think that it's been this clear for some time. And it certainly does spell out for the community if they want to know anything about what councillors are, how they're supported, etc., and how any expenses are allocated. Indeed, those expenses are required under the Local Government Act to be printed in our annual report, where there's totals, etc., including any education, conferences, travel, etc. And they have been available for, I think it's about 6 years. Councillors, it's back to Councillor Watson for any close, if you have any. Councillor Watson?
No close necessary. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Watson. Councillors, the motion is before us. All those in favour? Thank you. Motion is against. Councillor Lowe, did you raise your hand? You're not voting? Can you tell me whether you did that for or against? Sorry.
I voted for. I must have put my hand down too quickly.
Thank
Sorry.
you. Sorry. I am
Yeah.
changing screens, and so it's a quick whip over so I can actually see you.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure I got that right. Item 8.4 is the election period policy. The recommendation for adoption is on page 27. Councillors, do I have someone move that, please?
Madam Mayor, I'm again happy to move.
Thanks, Councillor Watson. Seconder? Councillor Hall, did you just raise your hand? Or I'll be quick then and grab that. As Councillor Watson, open to you for any comment.
Madam Mayor, I think I was guilty of it my very first time in local government elections, and that was not using the council logos and things like that. So I bring the community and we as councillors to attention on page 116 of 255 of the additional reports, and just making sure that when you do your publications and things, when it goes out, that we follow all the correct procedures, because you can be you can get in a fair bit of trouble.
You can indeed, Councillor Watson. Councillor Hall, did you have any comment?
Yeah, I agree with Councillor Watson. You know, it's quite detailed, so anyone planning on running for council really should read through it thoroughly. They're pretty strict with their requirements, and you can easily get yourself in trouble if you don't abide by the policies. So I recommend people to read it.
Yep, good comment. Other councillors, is there any comments? No, I think one of the ones that always seems to trip candidates up is when they print documentation. So it's certainly worth noting that, and particularly printing to online version as well. Councillor Watson, did you have anything to close?
No, Madam Mayor, I just hope a lot of people want to put their hands up when we do have that election.
And it's looking like they might, Councillor Watson. Okay, councillors, motion is there before us. All those in favour? Motion is carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 8.5 is governance rules. We've got lots of these coming through. This is all because of the new legislation. The recommendation for adoption is there on page 31. Do I have someone move that? Thanks, Councillor Mitchell. Seconder?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Councillor Watson. Councillor Mitchell, any comment?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Again, we have adjusted our governance rules to address all of the legislative requirements of the LGA 2020. This also synchronises Victorian governance with all 79 councils in Victoria, and that's putting us all on the same page. And I think that's a very good move. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Watson. No?
No, Madam Mayor, I'm happy.
Thank you. Any other councillors? Thanks, Councillor Lowe.
I think it's just probably worthy of note, Madam Mayor, that with all these policy updates that are because of the new LGA rules, it's important to note that we were doing a lot of this already. So we already had a lot of these policies and that in place. So I think it's worthy for the community to know it's not something that we've just produced in the last 6 weeks because the new LGA has come in, but we've just updated what we already have. So
Yeah.
I'd just like to mention that.
Yeah, no, good comment. Very good comment. Any other councillors? No, I think worthy of note on this one, councillors, is the slight change to conflicts of interest that we see under the new Act. They are fairly complex. We've had one briefing on it from, excuse me, some specialist lawyers. and it is a pretty complex area. They have tried to refine it to make it a little clearer. We'll live to see whether that is actually the case, but it is certainly for people who are intending to run for council, it's something that you really must get your head around. Councillors, back to Councillor Mitchell for any close.
Nothing further, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, councillors. Motion is before us. All those in favour? Thank you. Motion is carried unanimously. Okay, that moves us to item 8.6, Albury Wodonga Regional Deal. The recommendation is on page 37. There's 3 points to that. Do I have someone put this motion for putting the position of mayor on the committee?
I'm happy to move, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. And seconder, Councillor Lowe. Councillor Watson, did you wish to make comment?
Madam Mayor, I think we should all be very excited about the regional deal for our Albury Wodonga Twin Cities. It's a bit like the days of the corporation when they came here in the 70s. We are on the map now with regional deals for regional centres in Australia. So I really congratulate the team that got us to this point. And the motion before us is to have the sitting mayor of the day to be on that ministerial committee. So once again, I just think it's great for our growth, our city, and our people into the future.
Thank you. Councillor Lowe.
You'd probably just like to echo Councillor Watson's words and say it is very exciting. We're very lucky to get the funding for this agreement. And the fact that we've already got 6 reference groups up and going where we've partnered and collaborated with our community, especially in the private sector. So this is not just about local governments on either side of the border, but on how this deal can be formulated and structured 20, 30, 40, 50 years in advance, and bringing all sectors of our business and education communities together. So it's exciting times. I'm looking forward to it.
Thanks, Councillor Lowe. Any other councillors? Councillor Mildrum? No? Shake your head. Anybody else wish to make comment? No, I wouldn't mind just adding a few points in here. The reason for this report is really because it's pretty much like any committee, whether it be Never Waste, whether it be, I'm trying to think of the other ones, the Emergency Management Committee, there's a couple of others that I can't remember off the top of my head, that every single year we actually allocate a councillor to. We have to do that by a motion of council. That's what this does. But I think the other thing that's worthy of note in this report is the regional deal has actually been mentioned for more than 2 years. It's actually been part of 2, I think it's 2 consecutive budgets, definitely 1. I'm pretty sure it's been part of 2. And it's certainly been part of the community and the action plan for 2 cities, 1 community. And so it's been around for a while. It's been talked about a lot, but to finally manage to secure that money and the first, I guess, tranche of agreement to get everybody to the table is incredibly important. And I look forward to that work that comes out of all of those committees, because that's what will come before council and actually councils, to ensure that we plan the future of our community well, and with the appropriate amount of forethought and vision, because that's pretty important. And we know as a city that has been one of the fundamentals that has assisted this city to go forward. So back to you, Councillor
Watson.
Watson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I've got nothing further to add. It's
Thank
just
you,
going to be
Watson.
a good thing to go forward.
Very good. Councillors, motion is before us. All those in favour? Thank you. Motion is carried unanimously. Item 8.7 is the 2020 General Revaluation. The recommendation for this can be found on page 41 of 125 in the ordinary council meeting reports. Do I have someone put this motion? You can all knock me over.
Madam Mayor, I'll move for the purpose.
Lucky for you tonight, Councillor Watson. Can I have a seconder, please? You're very silent tonight, Councillor Lowe. Thank you, Councillor Hall. Councillor Watson.
Madam Mayor, this is a directive from state government. It's not, it's the General Revaluation. So a lot of our community sometimes get upset, but it's nothing. We have to follow this process and protocol for revaluation each year. Thank
you. Councillor Hall?
Yes, it's done every 12 months now. It was every 2 years. It's done by the state government valuer general, and it'd be interesting to see where our prices on our properties have headed. I'd say probably have gone up a little bit, but it doesn't come out of the total amount that we budgeted for. It's it's dispersed between the breakdown between how much our budget is needed and between all the rating categories.
Yeah. Good go at trying to describe the black arts, Councillor Hall. So you're right, the total is struck at the amount of the total rate, and then it's proportioned amongst all the different categories and the number of properties as well. So the valuation does have some shift, but yes, it is very hard to explain, and when you try and get in and explain rates, it is like that. But yes, it is each 12 months now, not each 2 years. Councillor Watson, anything else? No, great. Councillors, motion is before us. All those in favour? Thank you. Motion is carried unanimously. Item 8.8, tender for the supply of fleet services and consumables through Procurement Australia. You will find the recommendation on page 47 of 125. There's 3 points to that. Do I have someone move this motion? Thank you, Councillor Lowe. A seconder. Geez, got to have someone do some heavy lifting other than Councillor Watson. Thanks, Councillor Mitchell. Councillor Lowe.
I've actually built big arms over my time on council here, Madam Mayor, from the amount of times I've stuck it up to move something. Yes. So I thought I'd have a rest this evening, but obviously not. But I'm happy to move and vote in favour of the recommendation tonight. And that's because we're partnering and procuring through Procurement Australia, and when you buy one of something, you pay X amount of dollars, but when you buy hundreds of something, you obviously get it a lot cheaper. By partnering with this organisation, then we're going to get these services a lot cheaper. So I'm happy to move the recommendation and go with that. Thank you.
Good comment. Thank you. Councillor Mitchell.
Happy to support Councillor Lowe's comments, Madam Mayor.
Thanks very much. Did anybody wish to speak to the report or against it?
No, Madam Mayor.
No, otherwise I'm going to put the report. All those in favour? Thank you. Motion is carried unanimously. Item 8.9 is the two cities, one community. I'll spit it out in a minute. I need another cup of tea, obviously. The Regional Natural Environment Strategy. And I will find the recommendation. It is on page 55 of 125. 2 points to that: to adopt it and the financials. So it's about adopting the report and the financial resources to be considered. Do I have someone move this?
I'll move it, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Seconder? Thanks, Councillor Mitchell. Give me a shout out if I'm not looking, if I'm switching screens. Councillor Watson.
Madam Mayor, this has been out for public consultation, and I must thank the community who did respond to it and gave some really good feedback. We took some of that on board and some we left as normal. We're also doing in conjunction with the Albury City Council. So, you know, it is really a two city, one community regional natural environment strategy. And like all strategies, it can be reviewed and updated over time. So I look forward to getting some things implemented and then reviewing it over time in the future.
Great, thank you. Other comments? Councillor Mitchell.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. What an amazing document this is. It lays out comprehensive frameworks that will protect our fragile natural environment as our twin cities grow. A landmark strategy, and congratulations to all those that assisted in the creation of this master document.
Thank you. Thanks, Councillor Mitchell. Other comments? No other comments? Can I just pass a thank you back through you, CEO, to all of the team. It is an excellent document. It actually does wrap up and talk to our other strategies that sit there, both for the hills, our fire strategy, and etc., as all of these documents need to talk together. It's going to be an important document going forward. It helps set the high level vision. The report's pretty complex. It's actually full of a lot of scientific data, which is very important for us to be able to make informed decisions on. So the other thing I think that was really important for me within the document is it does talk about protection of our very sensitive areas, but it also takes into, I guess, into the thinking, the use of those areas too. So while it's great to have beautiful natural environment, we do know that our community likes to use it. We do know that it's also a very valuable asset in terms of tourist attraction and visitor economy. And so I think that the document at the highest level does talk to that and does so in an appropriate way. So can I please pass a congratulations back to the team? I know that they worked really hard to do this and it has been a real joint collaboration. Councillor Watson, did you have anything to finish?
Oh, Madam Mayor, I occasionally see on Facebook and things some of the beautiful sites on our hilltops and in our environment. And our community, as you did mention, just really enjoy using our environment. That's why a lot of people relocate to Albury, Wodonga, is that we have this fantastic twin city with a fantastic environment around us. So this only helps to, as you said, to make sure it's kept in pristine and looked after for the future.
Thanks very much, Councillor Watson. Councillors, motion is there before us. All those in favour? Thank you. Motion is carried unanimously. Item 8.10, effective control order for dogs. Somebody didn't tell my little dog this morning when he was barking during the briefing session. Luckily, he's asleep right now. Councillors, do I have someone move this motion? I know if Councillor Bennett was here, she'd want to. Thank you, Councillor Mitchell. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Logo, and you know you want to. Oh, he's holding himself back.
Madam Mayor, I'll second if you need.
Thank you, Councillor Watson. Councillor Mitchell.
Madam Mayor, I agree with the recommendation as it's clear and concise and also allows for amendment by the CEO should circumstances deem it necessary. So I think it's what the best option. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Watson.
Madam Mayor, thank you. And I'll add to what Councillor Mitchell said, is that unfortunately I didn't see an email from Stu and Charlie, who sent an email regarding their off-leash dog, because they're in the Barranduda area. So I'm very much going to support the motion going forward, but as we can, when people come up with other ideas to add to a strategy and a policy, I think we should look at that. So unfortunately for Stu, I think it was a little bit late for us to enact, but I'm hoping that maybe in 12 months' time, 2 years, we can review it with what his ideas are. So that was the email sent yesterday. So I'm sure we can look at that at a future time, but more than happy to put the motion.
Well, given the part of the recommendation is that the CEO can review and amend if needed, so that's important if we have something occur, for instance, or there's a flood or something happens in one of those sites that we can't foresee, that immediate action could be taken, but the CEO may wish to take that one under some consideration. Yep, Councillor Lowe. Have you got the 2 questions from Councillor Bennett too? No, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I just want to start with, I'm supporting this recommendation too, because during COVID, we've seen our community come out and walk their dogs in great numbers that have never seen before. And that's what's brought about this policy change. I received the email from Charlie, the dog, and Charlie's a working trail dog, and Charlie's been trained as a trail dog, which is a specific working field, to go on running trails and also mountain bike riding in front of a bike rider. And there's also other unintentional consequences of this policy that may be catched with other working dogs, like farm dogs, that are the working cattle dogs or working sheep dogs or even companion dogs is another field. And that point where the CEO has the ability to make amendments where necessary means we don't have to wait 12 months, 18 months, 2 years. This is kind of like a working document. So if there's these cases that do arise because I won't say that we've done a blanket rule, but we've tried to do a rule to help protect our community and the dog owners and the dogs.
Mm.
So it's just a reminder to community, this is a working document that we can work through on an ongoing basis. And hopefully, Charlie, the Kelpie has some good outcomes in the near future.
Thank you. Lucky he doesn't need a border pass. Otherwise, it just wouldn't happen. Super. Thank you. Is there any other comments around this? Yes, Councillor Mildren. Sorry. Yep, go for it.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I can't support this. I think we're making some big mistakes here. There's a number of things, and Councillor Lowe has actually mentioned a number of the things that I would suggest are mistakes or folly in what we're doing with this. We're not just an urban municipality. We have a lot of rural areas in the part of our city. We have not only people with disabilities that have dogs that support them and aid them and assist them, and they do that because off leash, both in public and in their private homes. We have the likes of some returned servicemen who have PTSD and have dogs that are their support. We have farm dogs that work cattle and shift cattle from one property to another along roads and across public land. All these things are things that haven't actually been considered in this document. And in terms of writing in a provision where we abrogate our responsibility to the CEO, I find absolutely ridiculous. We delegate everything that we do to the CEO, then we make a policy, then we delegate to the CEO to fix up the folly of that policy. I find that extraordinary. I think we need to get our act together and get the policy right in the first place. And I think there's a reasonable possibility that we're going to find, if our staff enforce this in the manner that it's written, that we're going to find there'll be a lot of trouble brewing into the future. And I think we're making a huge mistake with this. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. CEO, did you wish to make any comment, given that it's your policy that's been, or the policy that's been written? Did you wish to have any comment?
Madam Mayor, thank you. All I would say is that what we are trying to achieve is that balance. When you look at the existing law around dogs being under effective control, when we saw an increase in dog walking around most of our public parks and pathways as a result of the COVID restrictions, we also saw a significant spike in dog attacks. And really it's that concern that drove this change. But at the same time, of course, there will be exemptions, and nobody wants to deny those opportunities for those special cases, and we've got to make provision for those. But I guess what Council is proposing is what we deem to be a safer general policy for the community. We are going to work with the community to look at those designated off-leash areas, so that for those people that want to allow their dog to go off-leash or go swimming, that those opportunities are provided. And we're going to provide an additional dog park. So we're trying to balance the needs of all of those, but certainly there will always be exceptions. And I think our rangers would be pragmatic in their enforcement and would always side with education before moving to enforcement as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Otherwise I have two. Yep, Councillor Hall. Otherwise I've got a comment from Councillor.
Yeah, look, I got that email from Stu McQuaid and about Charlie, and it did make me think about the policy. He made some really good points. I know in the past I've liked to take I've just got a new dog, but I didn't have a dog for a while. I used to like taking them out to the whom we're off the leash. But there are irresponsible people out there that don't have control of their dogs. So geez, I'd like to get this policy right before we actually adopt it, to be quite honest, because at the end of the day, you know, there's going to be that lag in between and it's going to affect people. So I'm in two minds about this one.
Thanks, Councillor Hall. There's two clarifying questions that Councillor Bennett actually sent to me. If you wouldn't mind me while I just read them out. In the report, it says that it says white box rise. The others designated off-leash dot-pointed parks. It specifies exactly what area, exactly the park. So could we just clarify where in white box? If we could make that available to the public, that would be good. And then the same with Kalara, one of the swimming areas, just to clarify exactly where that is, that would be important in terms of information for the community. I've got I guess a couple of comments and just to better understand. If I look at the overarching nature of the policy, it actually is all about trying to keep people safe, and that's the bulk of people safe. I think your comments, CEO, around you know, responding to an issue that has arisen because of the situation that we're in is a really important one to think through, particularly in light of Councillor Mildren's comments. I don't think this is designed to hinder anybody or to certainly make life difficult for people, particularly if they are on a rural property of nature. Now, I say that because we actually don't have huge broadacre farms. We have a few farms within our shire, but we don't have loads. It's not the bulk of our population. And I noticed that the policy actually does talk about being on private land versus public land. So if they were on private farming property or rural property, then that's fine. Of course, common sense says that's on their own property. They are not required to be on leash. It's when they are in the public realm. And we would hope that our community would use the level of common sense that it often exhibits in terms of saying, well, this is about me walking through Willow Park and walking past numerous other dogs, numerous other people, and everybody being safe. So for me, this is actually about picking up the, you know, 98% of people of our population that needs to be kept safe. The very minor number of people that may be impacted in a negative way, the ability for having the CEO to be able to assess and amend those or give special permission or whatever we would like to deem it for somebody who actually needs something slightly different. So if it is somebody who has a PTSD dog or a something else or a companion dog of some nature, then of course we should be looking at some common sense approach. And I just remind councillors that without a piece in there like that, that allows us to be flexible and responsive to our community, you know, I just reflect on the last several months of how hard it's been when we've had a minister make a decision about permits and etc. that directly affect our people. And we can't go back even through a bureaucracy to be able to get common sense changes implemented quickly so people can get to elderly parents, so people can move house, so people can do all the things that they need to do because it's actually got to go through a minister. I kind of look at this policy in the same manner and go, you know, if we aren't showing some form of not just flexibility, because it's not really that, it's actually, for me, it's the application of common sense, then, you know, we shouldn't be putting policies out there on our people because we need them to work. We need them to work for the bulk of people, not just for the very few that this may negatively impact. I see this as a way through. Councillor...
Madam Mayor, this is not a policy. This is an order, and we are creating law, Madam Mayor. That's a clarification that we have to acknowledge.
I am very comfortable with it, Councillor Mildren, and my comment around seeing those laws passed on our people, not having permits and not being able to get to sick and elderly people with no common sense overlaid over the top is where I'm coming from in terms of my decision.
We'll change the policy to make it work the way it should be working.
Councillor Mildren, you'll have to suspend standing orders if you're going to debate.
Councillor Mildren, I'm very happy with it and I've just put my point. Councillor Watson, did you have anything? No, Councillor Mitchell, sorry, you moved it, didn't you? Sorry, apologies. Councillor Mitchell.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I agree with your comments. Keeping safe and reducing risk to our community is all important.
Thanks, Councillor Mitchell. Councillors, a motion is before us. All those in favour? Motion is carried. Against? Sorry, against. Councillors, motion is carried. Item 8.11.
Division, Madam Mayor.
Beg your pardon?
Division, please, Madam Mayor.
Sure. Oh, now I'm going to read out the motion. Councillors, the motion that was put by Councillor Mitchell, seconded by Councillor Watson, is one, that Council makes a new order under Section 26 of the Domestic Animals Act 1994, requiring dogs to be on a leash at all times whilst in public areas other than designated off-leash areas. Item 2, that the CEO be authorised to assess, amend and designate public areas within Wodonga to be designed off-leash areas as set out within Schedule 1. Item 3, consultation commence with the community to find a suitable location for Wodonga's next gated dog park. Councillors, motion is there before us. All those in favour? Councillor Speedy, Councillor Hall, Councillor Mitchell, Councillor Watson, Councillor Lowe, against? Councillor Mildren. Thank you. Item 8.11, Albury Wodonga Smart Community Strategy. Recommendation is on page 68 of 125. It is to adopt the strategy. Do I have someone move that?
Also move, Madam Mayor.
Thanks, Councillor Watson. Thanks, Councillor Mitchell. Councillor Watson, did you wish to speak to it?
I'll speak very briefly to it, Madam Mayor, and I think it is very prudent with the times we're living at the moment, is that to have a smart community such as smart Wi-Fi and smart health, smart power, all these things will be saving our community and our ratepayers money over time. So it's a strategy we're doing between Albury and Wodonga councils and across our twin cities, or in 2 cities, 1 community. So I think it's a great way we're going forward. Tonight's pretty much one of those things, is we're making history tonight for the first Zoom meeting ever on Wodonga City Council. So it's the way forward with our smarter ways of going about business and our community assets.
Thanks, Councillor Watson. Councillor Mitchell.
Thank you,
Topic
Madam
dear to
Mayor.
your heart.
Yes, it is. This strategy is one of the cornerstones, actually, as that we require as we continue with our 2 city, 1 community strategic plan, as well as assisting to lay a solid foundation to assist in the construction of the Albury-Wodonga regional city infrastructure. And I strongly recommend its adoption.
Thanks, Councillor Mitchell. Any other comments? Councillor Hall, anything? No? Sorry, Councillor Lowe, then Councillor Mildren. Oh, Councillor Mildren go and then Councillor Lowe. Sorry, it was kind of whoever put their hand up first, but I couldn't quite see. Councillor Mildren.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is an important part of moving our city into the future and moving a lot of things in the direction we need to go in with technology and other things that will change the way we do things. The broad objectives are really good. The way this report's been structured is quite good. I'm a little concerned with the fact that we don't have a bottomless pit to actually implement the program, and I would have suggested that all the matters that need to be done need to be prioritised and set into a manner where we can come back and put budgetary controls around how this is being done, and also have the decisions being made by the council as to the priorities and to the interpretation of the policy. I think at this stage it's a really good broad-based community strategy, but I think we need some decision making to be retained at the council level, both for funding and for priorities as to how we step forward with this. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Lowe.
Yeah, I'll echo my other councillors' words there. This is the way forward. This is where we need to be heading. And I'd like to thank Imogen, the author of this strategy. We're very, very lucky to get someone with a skill set like that she has. And that is because of our 2 cities, 1 community. This is where this smart community strategy come from. It was out of the Smart Cities programming, and and was one of the first initiatives we had as Two Cities, One Community. So it's combining our Albury and Wodonga funding, and we're talking about Councillor Midgen just picking up on his points. Of course, all this stuff will come back to council. That's what the policy is designed to do, is to bring it back to us, and but it's to identify what we need moving forward and start implementing and reaching out to the future. Because not only is it talking about technology-based smart, it's also talking about people-based smart. So it's incorporating our education departments and that as well. So there's unlimited opportunities. You need to have people that can read this data. So data on its own is no good, but having someone read it and interpret it and implement it, that's a whole nother field. And I think this strategy is encapsulating all that. And I'm looking forward to what it unfolds out of this. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Lowe. Councillor Hall, did you wish to make a comment? No? Councillors, I think really good comments. I think the couple of bits that I'd pick up is I really hope that we learn from overseas. Having travelled quite a bit, there's places in the world that are well ahead of us in this already. Places that are even, cities that are centuries old that are managing to adapt. Barcelona was one of the first smart cities. It has underground waste systems, and yet it's one of the oldest cities in the world. So I think that there's learnings that we can take and mistakes we can learn from others, so we don't have to repeat them. I think in terms of thinking about the priorities of this, I expect the prioritisation to come through the budgetary process when we actually work through as councillors the things that we want to see get done. And we'll do that as a joint collaboration, both through the regional deal, working directly with Albury, but also in our own right. So I very much see that prioritisation to occur there. And of course, then the budget is part of council decision. The other point of note is if you actually look at the document, there is so much of it that isn't about council doing this. This is about seeing in private sector, it's about collaborations, it's about partnerships. It's and within those collaborations, it isn't just council. This is, some of it will help be determined by new state policies. It'll be determined by a lot of other things and a lot of outside influences as well. So I think it's a great document for us to be able to work forward on, particularly when we're looking forward into our budgetary cycles, but also to look at those working partnerships that will, I think, make the implementation of the strategy much stronger. Councillors, back to Councillor Watson for any close.
Madam Mayor, thank you for allowing me to close. The feedback, I would like to publicly thank all those who did put in some feedback on it. One of them was smart transport. I think transport is always one of those things that comes up in our region that is an issue and things like that. So with endorsing your comments as well, with, this is the opportunity now we can go out and get grants and funding and partnerships and make private enterprise actually run this as much as a local government initiative. So we're setting the plan in place and the structure, and people can add all the meat to it in one way. Thanks, Madam Mayor.
Thanks, Councillor Watson. Councillors, motion is there before us. All those in favour? Motion is carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 8.12 is the Audit and Risk Committee Charter. I'm guessing Councillor Mitchell, given you're our member on that, would you like to move this motion? Thank you, Councillor Mitchell. A seconder? Would somebody like to second
Madam
it?
Mayor, I'll second it for you.
Hall and Councillor Mildren, you've been almost silent tonight. Is there no wish to second a motion?
Madam Mayor, I had my hand up. You didn't see it.
Oh, you must have been too quick. All right, we'll let you second this one then. Councillor Mitchell, please go, and then Councillor Mildren, it's yours for seconding. Councillor Mitchell.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Wodonga External Audit and Risk Committee, formerly the External Audit Committee, has always had a comprehensive charter. Two things recently have necessitated this charter to be reviewed. Firstly, our name change that now includes the implication of risk. That required many changes. And secondly, the Local Government Act 2020 included a well-researched model charter, and this charter has been basically adopted by the committee, with a few of our local changes added into it. So it's a combination of two charters and a very good end result. Thank you. I would this recommendation that we're dealing with on page 74. Would you like me to discuss that recommendation, Madam Mayor, at this point?
Go for it. Yep.
Okay. All right. The recommendation on page 74 has a part 2 and a part 2C that says that the recommended candidate in confidential attachment B from August 17, 2020 to September 30, 2023 relates to the latest candidate that has been appointed to the external part of the committee. And I would like to ask councillors if they saw a need to take the naming of the candidate into the confidential session later in the meeting, or would they just be happy to insert the name into this motion so that the matter is finalised now? So could I ask Madam Mayor if there are any councillors that would like to see it moved to confidential?
I think that we've all had the documents, and it would be sensible to insert that name unless anyone has any objection or wishes to discuss that candidate. But councillors, I think that we will see the name put. I'm just going to look to Officer Scully to make sure I can't even see him, to make sure that we do this in the correct manner. So can the mover insert the name in item C, 2C?
In the absence of any councillor indicating that they want to discuss that in confidential, we can do the confidential immediately. But if no councillor wishes to do that, then I think you're giving the nod to Councillor Mitchell to proceed with naming the candidate, and we proceed on that basis.
Councillors, I'm just going to do a last call. Does anybody wish to go into confidence to discuss this new member?
Madam Mayor, I don't want to go into confidence. I'm happy to announce it now.
Good, go for it, Councillor Mitchell. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would like then to insert the name Robin Gillis into part 2C of the recommendation.
Thank you. So item 2C has with that, we'll just have Robin Gillis be appointed from, and so then it continues from August 17, 2020 to September 30, 2023. So Councillor Watson, Councillor Mildren, you were the seconder. Are you happy to second that with the name attached to that?
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Mitchell, did you wish to continue speaking? Or have you finished?
No, I'm finished. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Mildren.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Audit and Risk Committee has a fairly important role in the council in a whole range of different ways, and it forms one of the most important parts of checks and balances. And in recent years, lots of checks and balances have been washed out or taken away from many things, but this is one of the things that's put back or enhanced and strengthened. It probably doesn't cover everything, and I don't think we should expect it to cover everything, but the Audit and Risk Committee has a very, very important oversight role to ensure that we as a council and as councillors collectively do the right thing, and that the staff and our various committees through purchasing and through all sorts of other different activities that we do as a council, that we have proper process and proper procedure to ensure that there isn't impropriety happening where we've seen in some other places. The Audit and Risk Committee has a fairly important charter in that regard. So with the strengthening of the committee and the role of the committee, it's taking on an even bigger role. And I think it's great to see the people of the calibre that have been on our committee in recent times and those that are joining it now. So from that point, that's why I'm supporting this motion, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Other councillors, Councillor Lowell, I can see you on my screen. Did you have any comment? No. Any other?
Madam Mayor, I'd just like a quick comment is that once again, we have people coming on, as Councillor Mildred said, with great expertise. I think our new appointment has even, fantastic expertise to bring great quality to the Audit and Risk Committee, and making sure that Anthony is recognised with a letter and thanking him for all his services to the Risk and Audit. And also it makes us much more open and transparent when we have external people looking through our system.
Thank you. Before I come back to you, Councillor Mitchell, to close, and then I'm going to actually have a question for you. It's actually been my experience that in the last decade, the number of legislative requirements and the numerous checks and balances and controls on councils, particularly in Victoria, has actually increased rather than decreased. We actually already have, as an organisation, an independent audit. We have a VAGO audit. We have numerous, and I can't even remember all of them. There's so many. The thing that's so important about the Audit and Risk Committee for me is actually that it's the independent review and oversight on and behalf of council laws. So it's actually established for council laws to do another layer of checking. This enables that real deep dive down into operational components where council laws really can't go. Through legislation, we're not allowed to, and nor should we necessarily tinker in the operation, but this gives us, and it should give the community a very robust sense of trust in that there is, numerous ways that this particular committee can go and check the operational components that council laws can't. So it's that independent review and oversight. And the other really super important part of this is it's actually done by skilled people. So by going out and making sure that we recruit people to sit at the table who have the skill and ability to actually do this analysis is really important. Often councillors can come to the table and through the democratic process who, one, have never run a business, don't know about audit, don't know about accounting, don't know about all sorts of things. So this actually gives us skills at the table that enables us to do that very rigorous checking. And my question, I guess, to Councillor Mitchell, who's actually our committee member on there, is you've been there now for the couple of years that you've been sat at this table, just to give us a bit of a reflection on how you've found the committee, how you've found working with these independent skilled people, and even any feedback that they provide to you, even if it's anecdotal.
Madam Mayor, thank you, Madam Mayor. It's quite awe-inspiring, to be honest. The 2 years ago, when I first started on this committee, it was there was a bit of trepidation in joining the committee. The people that are there are eminently qualified in what they do, and they have a real ability and a want to ensure that Wodonga City Council strives ahead and flourishes, and everything they do is to ensure that physically happens. The reports that they give back to council are, as you said, designed to keep councillors updated with what actually transpires at these meetings. And the Local Government Act 2020 actually stipulates that the representative or the councillor representative on this committee should come back and report quarterly to the council, and I've made that commitment that I will do so. So effectively, we have two audits. We have an internal auditor, but we have the external auditor. And we have the VAGO, the Victorian Governor General Auditor. So we've overcome by audits, and I think the end result is something great for our council.
Thank you, Councillor Mitchell. Councillor Mitchell, did you have anything further to close?
No, I don't. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, councillors. Motion is there before us. All those in favour? Thank you. Motion is carried unanimously. Item 8.13, councillors, has been a report that has been tabled tonight. If you'll just bear with me, I'm actually just going to open it up on my on my emails. Okay, thank you. Okay, councillors, so there is a extra report and there's 8 pages. The recommendation is on page 8 of 8. There is 2 points to it. So councillors, the recommendation is there from officers. Do I have someone move it, please? Thank you, councillor Mitchell. Do I have a seconder? Thanks, councillor Hall. Councillor Mitchell.
Thank you, Madam. Yes, I am on. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think what would be a good idea is to give a summary of this quarterly report. The IBAC report on procurement.
Oh, sorry, councillor Mitchell. So I'm just going to pull you up. We're 8.13, which is the proposed sale of Cafe Grove.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No problem. Are you still happy to move it?
Yes, I am.
Thank you. And if you're right, we can get a summary of it, and if you'd like to, we can get the CEO to provide that summary to councillors if you would so wish.
I think that would be best.
Okay, thank you. CEO, would you mind giving us a quick, or whether it's yourself or whether it's Officer Schultz, give us a summary of the report, please.
Madam Mayor, thank you. This is a report that has been before Council previously, and Council supported the sale of Cafe Grove, subject obviously to it going through community consultation. The report has now been out for community consultation for a period of 4 weeks. There were no submissions by the community, and therefore the report is coming back again for a decision to proceed with the sale. And that sale, as was documented in the report, will be a joint sale, actually led by Department of Treasury and Finance, as the land and the buildings are co-owned by both council and the state government. So they will take a lead role in the sale process. But tonight is about the fact that it's been out to our community for consultation, and there were no submissions from the community to alter perhaps the decision that council came to before it went out for consultation. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Mitchell, you happy with that summary? Did you have any comment?
No, thank you, Madam Mayor.
Councillor Hall?
Yes, just to add to our CEO Mark Dixon's comments. Yeah, this is the process after the public notice that we did not get any submissions back. So it's the process that the Department of Treasury wished us to take, is to take it to an auction process and to open it to the market for the sale of the properties. So at the end of the day, if we don't sell it at auction, it'll go up onto the open market.
Thank you. Other comments or questions? Councillor Mildren?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Again, I support the sale process, and we've gone through the process to come to reach the point we're at now. And I think there's not a lot of point in council hanging on to small parcels of land that aren't the actual whole building site. They only comprise a sliver of land basically at the back of the building, which doesn't comprise a huge portion of the building. Having said all those things, there's a lot of opportunities that we might see happen by putting the land out to the public arena. We could end up with some activities that go on there that would support the purpose of the rest of the Grove as an important thing for our return services people, and looking into the future for various ceremonies and so on. We could see that this land could be utilised in a way that might be supportive of that. So putting it out to the public could bring all sorts of different opportunities. And I think we're doing the right answer for this particular asset that's not wholly an asset of council, but only partly. So I think we're doing the right thing putting this out. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Madam Mayor, just probably a point of clarification. I understand this would, going for sale, it would bring it all under one title. At the moment, it's under many titles, which makes it very complicated, hard for anyone to run a business and manage. And that's one of the reasons why it is going up for sale. You know, it's a bit sad to see one of the chamber, what the old city Wodonga Council chambers will be going up for sale, but that's history and we've got to move on. But it's going to make it better for the owner who would take it on. So I just want clarification that it'll be all under one title when the subject matter is sold.
Yeah, good point, Councillor Watson. Councillor, I think it's been good comments. I think bringing something different to the table that we haven't even thought about will be very interesting through the market process. I know that there has been quite a level of interest expressed over this site, so it will be exciting to see what ends up going in there, and seeing some revigoration of that end of town will be important, particularly as we see the development of our library and that whole space there. So, councillors, Councillor Mitchell, back to you. Did you need anything for close?
No, thank you, Madam Mayor.
Councillors, the motion is there before us. All those in favour? Thank you. Motion is carried unanimously. Now you can go, Councillor Mitchell. Item 9.1 is the Audit Committee meeting for May. It's the summary of the minutes. Would you like to move this one?
I move, thank you.
Very excited to do the last one.
Yes.
Would somebody like to second that? Thank you, Councillor Lowe. Councillor Mitchell.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. In summary, the IBAC report on procurement will be included in the September agenda, as will my report on the risk effects that climate change could have on council. The Victorian Auditor General Internal Management Letter for 2019-20 dealt with the COVID-19 effects on council, remote working and our financial statements. A pleasant aside to this was that no new findings were evident in their audit. A 0% rate rise for 2021 was discussed in conjunction with the extrapolated compounding cost to council that would be in the vicinity of about $20 million over 20 years. However, the reasoning behind the decision was understood. The next Audit Risk Committee is set down as September 10th in next month, and all Wodonga councillors have been invited to attend as observers. I hope they're all able to attend. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Lowe, any comment? You're on mute. Thank you.
No, I'm fine, thank you. Councillor Mitchell's our representative on that committee, so I'll put it.
Thank you.
Relays the messages thick and fast back. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Any other comments from any other councillors? If anyone doesn't wish to speak against this, I'm going to put the motion. All those in favour? Thank you. Motion is carried unanimously. Item 10.1, the planning report for July 2020. It is for information only. Is there any questions or comments? It's great to see a few new businesses and things like that start to show up there, including the new Miss Emily. I'm assuming that's what it is down on Huon Street. Not sure if that's what it is, but I'm guessing it is. Yep, thank you, CEO. And there's some extensions to some of our commercial stuff, so good to see that continued investment. Item 10.2 is the building report, again for information only. Is there any questions or comments? No, our planning department has still been very busy throughout this, including from March right up until now. They've been flat out, so that's great to see some parts of our economy still working. 10.3, competitive services report for July. Again, for information only. Plenty of work on. Thank you. 10.4 is the Assemblies of Councillors. 10.5 is decisions register. This is the one that councillors is put there to see if we do really read it. No. Councillors, notices of motion, there are none. Petitions, there are none. Council seal, there is none. General business, none. Urgent business, none. And it leads us to go into confidential.
Madam Mayor, just before we jump over general business, I'd just like to do two things. Just what firstly, I'd just like to say happy birthday to Councillor Bennett in general business here, because
That makes it official.
Yes, it makes it official. She would be shattered that she's not here tonight on this.
Yes.
As Councillor Watson said, it's groundbreaking it's a first for the city of Wodonga online. So especially with all her push for the briefings and meetings to go online, and for transparency reasons. Secondly, there was a couple of important announcements we got to make over the past month, and I don't think it was at the last meeting, so I'll just bring it up that the female facilities and update to the change rooms at Lee Cheesley Oval was announced. We received state funding of $500,000 to go towards a new pavilion down there to be shared between multiple user groups down there. I thought that's a really exciting announcement. Also, a second netball court at Wodonga Raiders and a lighting upgrade there. So it's part of our commitment and our strategy that we made a long time ago to keep aiming at renewing the assets that we have in our sporting communities within the city, as well as maintaining that focus on Barranduda Fields. So not taking one and giving up on the other. It's about moving it all forward together. So I'd just like to thank the state government for those grants to allow this to happen, and it's nice timing. So I just thought, I'd just highlight those couple of funding announcements.
Very good. Good idea. Thank you. Councillors, it moves us to the confidential section. Now, I'm going to remind everybody not to touch any buttons, because I know that Kelly is going to move us all over. So I do need to ask for someone to move that. We move to the council meeting. We're already out. Okay, I'm going to take it. The Councillor Lowe moved it and Councillor Watson seconded it, and I will wait and make sure that that is the case. Thank you. If you could We have everyone back. Okay, terrific. Thank you. So that leaves us to adopt the in-camera recommendations, so that the recommendation for closed council meeting be adopted. Can I have someone move that? Thank you, Councillor Mitchell. A seconder. Thank you, Councillor Lowe. All those in, nobody wishes to speak to that, I'm guessing. All those in favour? Thank you. Motion is carried unanimously. So that just officially allows me to close this meeting. We are endeavouring to hold a face-to-face meeting with social distancing, of course, for our September meeting. We do have a special meeting scheduled. Yes, I think at the end of August. I'm not quite sure what date. I don't know if Officer Scully wants to remind me of that, or Deb, somebody tell me.
I think it's the 7th of September.
7th of September, thank you very much. So people will be able to find that online and any information. Other than that, then we have our normal council meeting on the 21st of September. Thank you, councillors, and thank you for your time this morning for those who attended. And I look forward to seeing you in another week or so. Thank you, take care, and officially close tonight's meeting. Thank you. Thanks, Kelly.
Thanks, Houston. You've done well.
Yeah, that went very well. Thanks, Kelly. That was great.